Greetings to all learners. Today in Professional English, I'll start with Part 1, Module 1, Developing Soft and Self-Management Skills. The highlights of the lecture is communication and its relation to human activity, learning as an experiential process, how a language functions as a tool of communication, and lastly, difference between technical communication versus general communication. In the introduction, communication and its relation to human activity. Communication is the most basic human activity which enables some form of direct or indirect communication with others, affecting both personal and professional life. People employ different communication skills to talk with each other in order to achieve their conversational purposes or goals. It also shares information or something to be made known as the situation demands. Human communication is both social and cognitive because it is a process by which individuals transmit or exchange information and influence one another through a common system of symbols and signs or in a mutually understandable language. Communication arises only when there is a need or any human activity. If there is no need, we do not talk. One of the most striking features of humans is that they are endowed with language, the power to express categorically and effectively which no other non-human species can do. By creating an atmosphere of trust in a conversational or text, you can add credibility to the message. This can be achieved by a clear and striking tone which indicates that the information you are discussing contains the right information. In this lecture, you will learn how to initiate a meaningful conversation with anyone you meet. This lecture is designed for students who want to develop strong social skills for career or personal life. If you pay attention, you may learn how to build effective communication skills and communication styles that will transform your social presence and relationship. The second point you learn is how to break down the mental barriers of shyness and anxiety. The third, eliminate anxiety and fear of social rejection. And the fourth, achieve social confidence and eliminate approval-seeking behavior. Before proceeding further, one must keep a writing pad and a pen. One must also be a good listener to grasp what is being said and for what purpose. I am sure you will learn to solve your own problems faster. The effective speaking cycle consists of 5 important stages that pave the way to meaningful learning. 1 is experience, 2nd is reflection, 3rd conceptualize, and 4th text. All the 4 points are connected to language. Language helps in stirring up our minds the desired ideas, context, and the right mode of delivery. The advantages of such experiential learning process leads to ability to immediately apply your experience at a given time, access to real-time assimilation of ideas, churning and feedback, develop a sense of teamwork and great communication skills, and finally, development of reflective practice, habit of effective communication. How a language functions as a tool of communication. Let us ask a question that how language operates. We carry images in our mind. All these memories of our experiences shape our ideas and influence our thoughts and action. Sometimes we alter our viewpoints and thus have varied viewpoints. So enhancing the basic characteristics of language can help us to understand better and communicate effectively. Some of the basic characteristics are: language is artificial. That means every symbol is attached to a particular thought or a thing known as referent. Number 2, language is restricted. That means no symbol or word can transmit the exact reality because language is restricted. Third, language is abstract. That is, the idea which a word represents is different every time. Fourth, language is arbitrary. There is no direct relationship between a word and the idea or objects it represents. Fifth, language is creative. Language is creative and has the ability to generate many words and is added to the dictionary on daily basis. Sixth, language is repetitive. Language has the capacity for redundancy or repetition. And fifth, and the last is, language is recursive. There is no limit to the potential length of a sentence. Then how can we have an effective communication? Language is a system of communication enabling humans to exchange verbal or symbolic utterances. It stresses the social functions of language and the fact that humans use it to express themselves and to manipulate objects in their environment. Communication by means of language may be referred to as linguistic communication. The other ways, such as laughing, smiling, shrieking, and so on, are types of non-linguistic communication. It must be pointed out that one can have effective communication only with the help of a language. It is the basic knowledge of the theory of language to understand the intricacies of writing and speaking clearly. Given the fact, how do we then define language? So, language can be defined at 4 levels. 1, sounds, so all possible sounds which can form a human language. 2, words, that's words, the formation of words in a logical structured sequences. Sentences, that words are arranged in a particular sequence to convey one's idea in a meaningful way. And 4th, word order. Changing the word order in a sentence, one can change the meaning and even make it meaningless. How then words acquire meaning? There is no obvious meaning to the word and meaning. For example, pen in English and kalam in Hindi. Some correlation exists though between the symbol and the sense, known as onomatopoeic words like buzz, murmur, bow wow, etc. Coming to our point, what is technical communication? One needs to understand the process of technical communication. It can be defined as the transmission of scientific and technical information from one individual or group to another. It is a systematic understanding of scientific and technical subjects. There are 3 important requirements of technical communication. 1, subject competence. This depends on the sender's subject competence, his or her professional knowledge, experiences, and abilities. It is the appropriate knowledge of a particular technical subject matter. The second one is linguistic competence. It depends on the appropriate language skills and the ability to present scientific facts or information clearly and objectively. It involves technical presentation of data in reports, proposals, research papers, technical bulletins, manuals, and handbooks. Linguistic competence includes several functional skills, and lack of such skills may lead to ineffective or incomplete communication. The third one is organizational competence. It means the systematic and structured presentation of information involving logical and thematic organization. Skills such as ability to sequence thoughts in a sentence, organize a paragraph according to the needs of the reader and the topic, using appropriate logical ordering, and fourth, like providing thematic coherence, that is, it should be logical and consistent to expressions. As we know, communication is a two-way process between the sender and the receiver. In other words, it's a process of sharing information is communication. Technical communication is subject specific and is communicated either orally or through written form. Here we must know that how this technical communication came into being. Technical communication started with the development of international trade and technology. From 17th century onwards, it progressed tremendously, which resulted in communication internationally. Later, in 1660, the Royal Society promoted scientific research and experimentation. The scientists had to prepare the reports and articles which were written in plain English. 18th century saw a massive industrial revolution, and in the 19th century witnessed the growth of industries which brought a revolution in the field of technical writing. The current century, due to the growth of industry, science and technology, we have national, multi and transnational tie-ups. We have today advanced means of communicative devices such as computers, internet and mobile phones, which has enabled the technocrats to communicate more speedily and effectively. So, we must be able to differentiate between the two aspects of communication, that is general and technical. Students must have an extensive interactive sessions with their peer groups. So, take each points and then discuss on various topics how it can be general and how the same topic can be converted into technical communication. So, here in the first difference is general communications are have more content wise, it is more general, but in technical communication the content is more specific and technical. In general communication, the vocabularies are general, and in technical communication, you have a specialized vocabulary. There may or may not be any formal elements in general communication, but whereas in technical communication, the elements are always formal. It again, in general communication, the style may be formal and informal, but remember, in technical communication, it is always formal in style. General communication may or may not be factual, but in technical communication it is full of facts and information. In general communication it may be both objective and subjective, but in technical communication it is purely objective in nature. In general communication it is not always structured, but in technical communication it is always logically organized and structured. Again, this general communication may not be for a specific audience, but in technical communication it is always intended for a specialized or specific audience. In general communication may or may not involve graphics, but in technical communication usually involves graphics. I request all the learners to take each points and write few examples to have a clear understanding about the differences. Now, after understanding this communication, both general and technical, writing also takes the two sides, that is technical versus general writing. Writing serves different purposes and are also meant for different varied audience. Therefore, one should not be confused between two styles, general writing and technical writing. While writing on general subjects, the writer must place himself as a reader to judge his or her writing. Writing a weak piece of prose is not serious when compared to a piece full of errors. The intended meaning should be clear and easy to understand. Spelling and grammar mean a lot, and a good writing should be error-free. The content should be also lively to keep the reader interested. On the other hand, technical writing is a form of writing that is more seen than any other type of writing, with people not even realizing the fact. The essence of technical writing is objective and is written to accomplish certain goals. Examples like instruction manual of a mobile phone. A good part of the technical writing is not meant for general public. This includes business writings to communication with management, employees and other business, and is full of jargons related to the world of business. It should be clear and concise. The content of the writing should draw attention and engage the readers. The content should be arranged in such a way that the reader gets the information that he is seeking and understands the subject easily. The features of technical communication: use of familiar and easy words. Avoid using more words where few words can do, such as superfluous and unnecessary words. Words like well, frankly, actually, honestly, basically, all these words needs to be avoided in technical communication. Use of clear sentences. The main idea should be clear. The thumb rule is use the basic English word order, that is subject, verb, object. Third, use of sentences of moderate length. Length should not be either too long nor too short. Fourth, use of active voice. For example, I wrote a report is more effective than a report was written by me. It helps the reader to comprehend ideas more easily. Avoid redundant phrases. For example, 12 midnight. So instead of this, you can just say midnight. Phrases like I think of, in my opinion, no doubt, technically one can use like it appears to, or it seems, or somewhat, depending on the context. Likewise, instead of alternative choice, you can just use alternative. Similarly, instead of connected together, you can just use connected. Again, instead of advance booking, you can just say booking. Avoid inaccurate expressions. Expressions should be precise and accurate. Paragraphs should be ordered. Different ideas, thoughts should be properly arranged into different paragraphs. The trick is a single idea should be conveyed in a single paragraph. It builds the coherence and maintains the flow of what you want to convey. So, what we learned from this lecture: acquisition of good communication skills in order to achieve the conversational purposes of goals, break down the mental barriers of shyness and anxiety. Enhancing the basic characteristics of language can help us understand better and communicate effectively. To enhance competency in subject, linguistic and organizational for effective transmission of scientific and technical information of a given technical subject. Revolution in the field of technical writing, and understanding the difference between general and technical communication or writing, as both are two different styles of speaking and writing. The discussion was based on the development of international trade and technology, and with it the need for a good communication, both oral and written, how the Industrial Revolution shaped up, and with the growth of industry there was a revolution in the field of technical writing. We have advanced means of communication which has enabled the technocrats to prepare technical reports, proposals, letters, memos, etc. more speedily and effectively. The students are further asked to do some self-study on the need of good writing skills in industries. They are given an assignment, and on the basis of this they have to collect samples and get acquainted with the kinds of writing one does in the specific industry. In general and technical writing, there are two different styles of writing. Though the basics remain the same, both need to exchange the reader and must be free from spelling mistakes and grammatical errors. Technical writing is considered a little more difficult than general writing, as it needs to provide information in a clear-cut manner that the reader is able to assimilate and understand. General writing is more about arousing the interest of the reader, whereas technical writing has the sole objective of making the reader understand a topic in an interesting manner. Technical writing has general guidelines to follow, and it has to be clear and concise. It has to be in the first person and avoid passive voice. So learners, if you go through all the critical points, I am sure that you will master this communication skills in a much more faster way. For any queries, you can email me at the given address. Thank you.